I've been making car videos or videos in general for the better half of 5 years as a business and full time. And this is going to be more of a just talking video vlog, okay? I don't expect anything major. I wanted to talk about a few topics that I've been seeing more and more of that I wanted to just openly discuss and get feedback on them. That's the state of kind of where we're at in the automotive industry. I think people are very, very angry on the consumer side and even on the tech space side. And I'm just going to kind of go along with some of the things that I've seen. Now, doing this as a career and as a business is much like working a corporate job, right? It's the same thing with a lot more red tape. Your coworkers have to like you, right? If you're super abrasive, it's not going to work. You can't piss off your boss or make your boss look bad. And you have to do a good enough job to fly under the radar. And it's the same thing in the media space. Some people are good at it, some people are bad at it. And in my case, I've had a few videos where I've seen the level of anger from certain buying public about mainstream cars, like normal family vehicles, and of course the enthusiast side. And some of my job is to understand, like have my finger on the pulse of what people are going through, what they're feeling, being relatable, and also being respectful to that. And you know, being on the kind of the corporate end of this, seeing what the manufacturers are going through, seeing what the dealerships are going through, seeing some of the things that I'm seeing on the back end with technology and all the little things that you don't see on the background with supply chain, financing, money, all that. It's crazy how all of this works. So the first thing I want to talk about is like consumer anger. And we started seeing this when regular vehicles were or just not accessible. Like you're a family, you need a car to go from point A to point B, and the used car market was decimated last year. So if you got a used car, that's all you could afford. Traditionally, you were paying more than what that car was worth. That means that you have a loan that's bigger than the value of the car. When the used car market cools off and the car market cools off, there's no way you're going to be able to flip that car. Conversely, in the new car market, you couldn't get vehicles. We look at dealerships like St. Charles Toyota, where Jack got his car. It's an MSRP only dealership. We went in there like last year, they had like 3 cars on a lot, like an enormous car lot. You had to go in, you couldn't even get a car. You had to wait months to buy something like a RAV4 or a Camry. And a lot of other dealerships were seeing the same problems. Or if they did have inventory, the dealerships were just like, hey, we don't have cars, you're going to pay over. So now you have a loan for a car that's $5,000, $10,000 over what it should be. And these are not houses. They're not property. As soon as you put miles on them, but wear and tear, they're really disposable assets in the long term. And I'm not going to get into this point with the complication of new cars and all the things that go along with trying to maintain or own a car long term for a normal person. But it's not like the older days where you could go to an auto parts store and just throw a part at it and it unscrews with 2 bolts, and troubleshooting was like, oh, that broke, I'm just going to replace it. It's not like that anymore. And the common person can't even figure out half the features in these cars, let alone like deal with it long term as things start to break. So now people are paying way too much money, and I think that's part of the anger. And as people go upside down and can't get rid of some of these cars, like if you bought a used car, you're going to, all of a sudden, maybe you have a couple problems with it, or you don't want it, or your payment's too high. You go to a dealership and you realize, well, you're $10,000 underwater. You're like, well, how the hell do I get out of this? Well, traditionally, you'd roll over that $10,000 to a new loan, right? You just roll it over to a new loan, and now you have maybe a less expensive car that you're paying way more money, and you're still upside down again. And if the car market keeps going down, that's going to get worse, and you're either going to have to get it repoed and hit your credit and let the car go, or you're going to have to figure out a way to pay it off. Or now what we're seeing too is this is becoming more popular with a lot of banks, is they're just foregoing some of this stuff. People are letting their cars go, just get essentially having not going to pay the car, go into a dealership and get a loan on a car that you're not upside down on, and the banks aren't doing checks to see if you're doing 2 loans. So these new banks are literally allowing people to take out a second loan on a new car while just kind of ignoring the fact that you have a loan on another car, knowing that they're probably going to default on the first loan, and it's going to screw over the other bank that has the default on it. So this is becoming more common practice too, which is even just more insane to me. But it's the trickle-down effect of shit rolling downhill. So this whole process is making people mad, right? And then you have the enthusiast car situation where I'm going to just put it this way, right? Like people don't need these cars, they just want them. They might have money, they might be working hard. And I've had people message me, even on like our live stream, like, I'm younger, I'm working hard for a car, this is something I'm passionate about, I need a reason to work. I love this, I want to put the money into it, it becomes a hobby. And when those people work a lot to achieve something that they can't have because either the dealer system's broken, or the manufacturers overpromise and underdeliver, or the social media system's broken, and I'm at fault for that too. We go to some of these press events, and I will just say, like, I don't mean to throw them under the bus, but the recent ones in history were the Toyota GR Corolla and the Honda Civic Type R. You create this huge buzz about these products, you send the media there, we make these videos, and we're like, this car is amazing, this product is great, you gotta have it, and look at the price, look what we're doing. And then the manufacturers can't get the cars. They spend all this money for this media that they can't deliver the product on. And what happens is people get pissed off. They're angry. They cannot get something that's been like thrown in their face all over media. They've created this negative atmosphere. And then there's certain people that, like myself, I was able to get one of these cars that's very hard to get. And then, like a dumbass, I go on a line and I'm like, well, I got this car. It's a part of my history with this brand, and I really want to enjoy making some content with it. And I can understand why people are upset with that mentality. And it's not just that, it's not just my part of it, it's just a bigger problem overall with this industry. And if you can't deliver on it and you're making your customers mad, you may be alienating them. So it's like this huge like minefield of all these problems. The financial issues of like loans and people being like broke, cars are too expensive or you can't get them, to really just kind of killing off a huge majority of buyers that were excited about cars that may not be excited anymore because this whole system is just so irrevocably like damaged from the bottom up. And some of it was COVID and supply chain, and some of it is just the fact that a lot of this stuff is way more complicated than it needs to be and it used to be. And it hit me the other day because I needed to buy a new range, like a stove. And I went shopping and I wanted something medium to high end. And I'm like, I just want something with 6 knobs. I turn the knob and it turns on. I want to turn the temperature on a knob and select 350 degrees. Just turn it there. I don't want to go through a menu structure. I don't want a touch screen. I don't want ambient lighting. I don't need Wi-Fi. Guess what? Big surprise. In the appliance market, it's really hard to find the basics anymore because all these features are what's driving all the development. And a lot of these products, it takes 6 months to a year. 6 months to a year to get a basic appliance. A lot of it is supply chain issues. Big shock, because now they're saying that people don't buy these things unless it has the ambient lighting or sounds or programmable sounds or a touch screen to tell me what my food looks like before and after. I mean, it's the same thing that's happening in the car market. And at what point do the consumers get smart and really say, I don't want these things anymore? Because like I said before, half the people that we talk to don't even know what these things are. I got in a car today that I've been in 3 times, and I got in and I saw a center console and there's a button there. I have no idea what it does. It's just a hand. It's like a logo of a hand with a circle around it. I don't know what it is. I literally had to look it up. And you can times that by 10 for a normal person. It's like, why do we need all this crap? Is it really necessary? And that's kind of the point of this, right? Like, at some point, the consumers are going to have to really stand up. They're going to have to help to reshape some of these markets. Like, if you don't like this, if you don't like this process, speak out. Don't buy it. Turn your back to it. You know, that's the only way these brands and companies or people like myself are going to listen. And the people behind the brands have to be smart enough to really listen, to really understand. And that's what I'm attempting to do in this. If I'm not going to do this forever in the time that I have to make these videos, my big thing, and I talk to Jack, I talk to a lot of people, I just want to be real about it. I want to try to help and not waste people's times. And it's just so big and it's so like out of your hands that the things that we love as a passion and a hobby, you know, when you see like the curtain falling on some of that stuff, it's like, I don't know, it's a hard pill to swallow. So my end point is, what can you do about it? What is your feeling on it as a viewer? Like, what would you want to tell the companies, the manufacturers that you want? I mean, I can only touch on some of these things, but what's really important to you? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next video.